What up, boys and girls? We are live on a Tuesday. Nice little 11 game slater. So interesting spots today. Man, pitching ownership is condensed. Um, I understand some of it I don't. So I'm kind of shocked at some of it, to be honest. I thought it'd be a little less on a couple of these guys, but here we are. So not really much we can do with some of it. I will say, and I will start with, I'm super sad the Angels Yankees got canceled. Um, the Yankees might have scored 15 runs today, so that's kind of sad. Well, let's start up top. So pricing's pretty cheap overall today, um, and I think it's just driving the ownership. So let's get Pablo out of the way, right? Pablo's 8K today. The wind's blowing in at 17 miles an hour, and he's almost 50%. I'm not pitching him in single entry with that. Do you want exposure in 20 max and up? Absolutely. That's just, listen, I get the Cubs haven't been great. The wind's blowing in, but I can't pitch a 50% Pablo in SE. Like, he could even go up a little bit. That's not the spot I personally want to take advantage of. Um, it's just not there for me, especially when the Cubs the last 2 weeks with their projected lineup is one of the lowest K rates on the slate. I'll pass there. But I get it. He's 8K. That's why he's going there. Um, I like Sonny today at 9,600 if I'm going to pay up. I'm not paying up for Shota, and I'm shocked he's at 20%. But again, the wind's blowing in almost 20 miles an hour. So I'm going to personally avoid that game in general. But the game I like on the other side, and I'm considering like game stacking it, is Springs is back. Give me a little Sunny and a little Springs on where we go, right? Especially, that Rays lineup, almost a 30% K rate lately. I kind of like that. Now, I get Springs is working his way back. It's he's probably still, going to be at that 75, 80, pitch count limit, but he's only $7,300 and nobody's playing him right now. He's less than 2%. That for me, that's the kind of play I want to go with. I like that there. I like Castillo's projection at home versus Detroit today. And his $8,200. I'm okay with him in the 30% ownership. I'll just kind of be, okay with that. I'll have some exposure. Now, I'm not going to be overweight just because, Seattle's, at home is, I don't know. I just haven't had great luck there. I like G-Rod against the Blue Jays today at 8,500 and 10% ownership. I think that's a really nice spot. And then as we look down, listen, man, if you want to throw like Freeland or Stripling or Cannon or any of that today, just challenge me head to head. So, I'm not throwing Framber against Texas. He's been too yo-yo for me. I don't want to pitch Sanchez against the Dodgers. The other spot, the other pay down spot I like today is Rhea. He's only $7,100 and that Braves K rate, been pretty high. So, 26% over the last 15, games. So I'm kind of okay with that there. And I'm not interested in Kershaw versus Billy, no Lugo. Now GPP, I'd have a little bit of Framber, a little bit of, probably, G-Rod in there and be a little overweight. Again, I'm going to keep my pool condensed on these bigger slates. I found that I do way better personally when I don't give myself too many options, when I shut my pool down and I look at what I can do. And then, we'll talk about it. Montero's starting to get a little ownership. I get it's in Seattle, but man, that dude can't keep a ball in the park. That guy gives up a lot of home runs. So, those are the spots for me that I think are interesting. It's really, again, I'm going to keep it pretty condensed, but, Sonny is my top, pitcher today. I'm going to fade Pablo. Those are really my stands. And then again, if I want to fade some salary, you got Rhea, you got Springs, there's a few other spots we can do it. Part of the reason I really wanted the Yankees on tonight's slate was just because we're going to try to have to offset some of this Coors ownership. We'll talk about that game in a sec. I like the lefty bats versus Bassett today, right? In case you're unaware and haven't looked at Bassett's splits, he is awful against lefties, and they stacked the lefties up top. Still leaving Jackson at the bottom, but Cowser, Santander, Henderson, I'm really going to consider having them in play today, and I'm not interested in the Blue Jays. The total's 9 in that Braves Brewers game, but I'd go probably the Brewers side a little bit before I went the Braves side, even though they're starting to heat up. I like Rhea, so that's my spot. I don't think they should have Soler bat leadoff. I think they should move Jared back up there, but what do I know? So again, total 7.5 in the Cards Rays game. I'm really considering just full pitch and stack that. Again, right? Like I like a 7.5 total. Both sides, good chunk of their lineup K at a different rate. So I'm not really going bats there. I don't hate a couple of the right-handed bats versus Framber because we know how bad Framber's been. Jung's up, should be hitting third tonight. He's finally getting going again. I'm not really interested in the Astros other than I hope Gavin gets someone to hit a home run for him so he completes his contest. So I hope you get that there. Twins and Clubs, zero interest in bats there. Just it's that wind blowing in. And like I said, I'm going to fade Pablo. And if you're doing so, right, you can look at Suzuki or, a one-off or two-off bat there to kind of offset some of that. Game theory tells us that. I like the Sox today versus Bello. I like their pricing. We got the lineup. MJ's finally starting to get going again. So, and I like those lefty bats, especially with Massey up top. And then we've seen what the Mets have done the last month or so. While the one spot I'll say, while Nimmo's been cold, he has crushed Freeland. So it's just hard to not play him. They're going to be insanely owned. The problem is what are we going to do if they score 15 runs? And a lot of times, I'm the guy that says, hey, let's, I'm going to look at ownership right now. Let's take a hedge off. The one thing I'm hoping is in single entry, maybe some of the guys jump off of that because they're afraid of their ownership. And what's crazy is they're not even the most expensive stack on the slate. But I get it. I get why they're owned. I understand. And I'm going to have some exposure. I just have to. Normally I like to fade it. They've just hit the ball too well. They just project too well. I can't bring myself not to play them today. I don't know that they make my SE, but they for sure make my 3 max. And then we go from there. Like I said, I like the Mariners tonight versus Montero. It gives some late swap ability. We'll go there. And then give me the A's, right? The A's are going to fit nice with the Mets. We know how bad the Sox are. Do we really want to fade, that? And if we get their guys that go yard, right? Give me a little Rooker, probably a little Butler, maybe some Brown tonight. I want to see their lineup. We're obviously not, I'm not pitching Ross as bad as they've been, but that lineup for Chicago is woof. So, and then Dodger Phillies totals 8.5. Again, Shohei's always in play. Freddie's back. But it's a lefty. So, Hernandez tends to hit lefties really well. So I'm okay there. I don't hate Trey again today. If you want to pay up in a couple of those spots. And then, like I said, I really wanted to have the Yankees tonight to, I would I wanted to play them over the Mets just to get a little bit different, but it is what it is. So, I'm going to keep this condensed. I'll have my article out soon as we get a few more lineups, but we're going to keep this short and sweet today, grinding away on a Tuesday, and talk to you boys and girls soon.